Alright, welcome back to the channel. I want to talk about Jerry West, also known as Mr. Clutch, also known as Zeke from the Cabin Creek, also known as Mr. Outside, and his most common nickname, most popular one, is the Logo. Because Jerry West is indeed that guy that is on the NBA's silhouette that we all know and recognize. He was a great player. He has to be in your top 5 shooting guards of all time. But he more so was a combo guard. He really is the player that ushered in that archetype in basketball. The combo guard, the guy who plays the point and shooting guard and just switches between the two guard positions. Jerry West is the one that ushered in that play style. And the way he played basketball was amazing. He was a tough defensive player. We all know he was a good scorer. Great offensively. He had that amazing, 1-2 dribble pull-up. That was his game, and that was pretty much most players back in the day. Just look at some clips. Didn't waste no time. No wasted dribble moves. Look at that. 1, 2, 3 dribbles max and pulls up for the mid-range shot. Up and under, off the glass. Look at that. Attacking the cup. Fades to hit a baseline jump shot. Look at that. No wasted dribbles. Beautiful pump fake. Look at that. Money. On 2 defenders. Look at that. Money. Look at that. 2 dribbles. Again, that's how players played back then. The game was super strict, on the fundamentals. And the players down pack back then, had the fundamentals down pack. Man, and that's why one of his nicknames is Mr. Outside, because he was a guy who took a lot of, perimeter jump shots around that time. He really is the best shooter pre-3-point line. And the guy, Jerry West, was able to score 25,192 points without playing with the 3-point line. So just imagine, if Jerry West was playing when they had the 3-point line, or even if he was playing when they counted steals. So as we see, back then in the NBA, unfortunately, I hate it so much, they didn't track steals and blocks up until the 73-74 NBA season. But look at what he was able to do at age 35 when he really wasn't in his prime anymore. He was able to accumulate 81 steals. I know that might not be a lot to a lot of people, if what they once they hear the number 81 steals, but hey, he did that in 31 games. Imagine that. So you got to put that in context. In 31 games, he was able to accumulate 81 steals. But even besides, just stealing the basketball, he was a really good defensive player as well. He's one of the best defensive guards of all time. He was tough on that end. But Jerry West was a true bucket getter. Again, guy scored 25,000 points without a 3-point line. And just even look at some of his numbers. So, in terms of NBA playoffs, career leaders, he's up there in points per game. All right? So, as we see, Jerry West is 5th all time in NBA playoff leaders for points per game. First is Michael Jordan, then is Luka Doncic, third is Allen Iverson, fourth is Kevin Durant, and fifth, as we see, is the Logo, Jerry West. Great scorer. And for the regular season, points per game leaders of all time is Michael Jordan, number 1, Wilt Chamberlain, number 2, Luka Doncic, number 3, Joel Embiid is number 4, Elgin Baylor 5, Kevin Durant 6, and Jerry West is 7th. All time. That's amazing. He's top 10 in points per game categories in playoffs and regular season. The guy got buckets. As you see, for his career, Jerry West averaged 27 points per game in the regular season. And in the postseason, again, he's 5th, and he averages 29.1 points per game. And another dope thing about Jerry West, in terms of his scoring, he's up there in finals points per game as well. As you see, he is 3rd First is Rick Barry, second is Michael Jordan, and Jerry West is third in career final leaders in points per game. Bucket getter. The guy got buckets. That's why he's the logo. And Jerry West, he is the only player in NBA history to win the finals MVP on the losing team. No player has ever done that before in NBA history, and it will never be done again, pretty much, because the league is just not going to give it to a player on the losing team, right? But it was the first award ever, the first final MVP award that was given out. It was given to him, and the guy averaged 38 points in the 1969 NBA Finals. We know they lost that in that tough Game 7. One of the best final series of all time. The 1965 Finals is in my top 10 final series, without a doubt. But it was a tough loss for him, man. Really, really tough loss. Look at that. He averaged 37.9 points per game. Again, pretty much 38 points, 4 rebounds, 7 assists. Again, they didn't count steals and blocks. Guarantee you, them numbers were definitely high, though. And he shot efficient from the field as well. Look at that. He shot 49% from the field. Right? Just a great, efficient score. And this is a guy who took primarily, mid-range jump shots. Pull-up mid-range jump shots. 1-2 dribble pull-up shots. If you look up his games online, it's very hard to find him do a catch-and-shoot shot, right? He was a legit straight-up 1-2 dribble pull-up shooter, or he would just, take you all the way to the basket and finish for a layup. But yeah, he was a good shot creator, man. The guy was really good at creating his own shot. But yeah, it sucked that they lost that series. Man, the Celtics just outplayed him that game. But yeah, he was able to win his one and only championship against the Knicks in 1972. They beat him 4-1, and as we know, they lost to the Knicks, unfortunately, in that 1970 NBA Finals series. So they got their revenge 2 years later, which is pretty dope. And he hit one of the clutchest shots of all time. Look at this. We all know this.
DeBusschere shoots, hits with 3 seconds to go. 2 seconds, 1 second. West throws it up.
Crazy.
Makes it. West throw it up and makes it. Over half court.
That is crazy.
The ball game is tied. Jerry West made it from the...
What's crazy about this shot is that, again, they weren't playing with the three-point line. So if Jerry West were to hit that shot in today's NBA, they would have won the game. Think about that. If they had a three-point line back then, the Lakers would have won the game by that shot from Jerry West. That 60-foot shot, bro. Man, I know it hurts him. I know it hurted him, man, that we have the three-point line now. But, the ABA they've been playing with the three-point line. The NBA took that idea from the ABA and implemented it to the league during the 1980 season. But yeah, the guy was a straight-up shooter, though, man. Jerry West can shoot the ball well. Just look at more clips.
There was no player that could stop him in the league. If you played a big player to try and take away the jump shot from him, he'd out-quick him and beat him on a drive. If you try to play a quick player on him so you could take away his drive, he'd shoot over the top of that player.
I think I was given some sort of a gift to shoot the basketball. And I always felt if you just keep a relatively straight arm with the ball resting in it and use your legs and have a nice follow-through, that shooting was simple.
Jerry West's skills were so prolific that even his most formidable opponents were rendered defenseless.
Look at that. I love that quote. If you just keep a relatively straight arm and use your legs and have a nice follow-through, then shooting was simple. Beautiful. Again, the fundamentals. These players back then had the fundamentals. That's why I hate when I go online and I just see people, even when I talk to other people, in real life, in person, the way they just talk about the players from the past is just straight up disrespectful. They don't understand the rules. Some people might be like, "Oh, you saw how he dribbles. You see how it's like people always make fun of on how Bob Cousy dribbles and stuff." I'm like, you guys do not know basketball. I hate saying that to people because it's an used term to say to people when you just don't agree with them on a certain take in basketball, saying someone doesn't know the game. But when it comes to that, it's like they don't put anything in context, because back then the game was truly called by the rule book. If a player even picked up their dribble and carried even in the slightest way, they would have gotten called for a travel. Again, the game was strictly called by the rule book. That's why they all dribble like that in the 60s, in the 70s, 80s. And we all know, towards like, you can say like in the late 80s, early 90s, that's when the NBA really started to be more lenient on, dribble moves. But because the NBA wanted to see more scoring. And hey, it's definitely not even compared to today. If you look up some highlights back then, Michael Jordan was getting called for doing a step back jumper, right? For doing a step back. There's a clip of Dominique Wilkins getting called for a traveling violation for doing a Euro step. So again, the game was called completely different. That's why they dribble just super straight. And that's just how the game was called back then. That's just how the game was called. But imagine if he was able to play with, with all the dribbling laws that the NBA just allows now. All the quote-unquote gather step and all that stuff that they allow in the NBA today. Imagine if the players back then were able to play with that freedom. Because, again, the NBA, they just care about scoring now. They want high scoring numbers for the casual viewer to watch. But let me digress on that. Back to Jerry West. The guy was a great player. Loved the way he shot the ball. Great shooter, again, great defensive player, a true two-way basketball player. And look at some of his career highs. He was shooting the ball efficiently well in some of these games. Look at his career high. Most points he scored in an NBA game was 63 points against the Knicks back in 1962. Again, he dropped 63 points while shooting 61% from the field. Look at, he had a 53-point game on 58% shooting, 51 points, 51. Look at that. Straight up buckets. Buckets on buckets, man. The guy was super clutch. And he's definitely up there in, clutchest players of all time. He's up there with, Jordan, Kobe, Bird. Just a true clutch shooter. If you want to talk about a guy taking the final shot, hitting clutch basket after clutch basket, Jerry West is in that category. That's why his nickname, one of his nicknames, is Mr. Clutch. And yeah, he's definitely up there. So let's look at this clip together.
Jerry West was the equal of Michael Jordan.
Michael might have played the game maybe more athletic than Jerry did, but there wasn't a better clutch player in the history of the NBA other than Jerry West.
Now you're going to have Jerry West probably get it, and he's going to try to go all the way. What's left?
He would let it go, and he would just start running to the locker room.
5, 4, 3, 2 points.
You would think that he wasn't that strong, and he was, and the guy was a smart player.
He got all of his accolades because he was such a prolific scorer. But people...
Look at that. Just a great prolific scorer. 25,000 points without a three-point line. Top 3 in finals points per game. Top 5 in all time. In postseason points per game average. In 5th place, averaging 29 points. And then he's 7th all time in points per game in the regular season. Straight up buckets. He had a great career. But yeah, y'all tell me your thoughts and opinions about Jerry West, man. Do you agree with me? You definitely have him in your top 5, or at least have him in your top 6 or 7, shooting guards of all time. He was a great player, man. He was a great basketball player. And the NBA logo is beautiful how it is. They should never change it. There's a lot of people debating, should they change the logo? It should be another player. But, y'all, the whole world recognizes the NBA logo has that. So why change it? And it's a beautiful silhouette. I think it's the best silhouette in all of sports. The best logo, without a doubt. All right? But, hey, again, tell me your thoughts and opinions. Like, subscribe, and stay tuned in to these next couple of videos.